The heavy car door shuts with a solid, metallic thud. You step onto the pavement. The air smells faintly of leaded exhaust and roasting peanuts from a corner cart. It is a vibrant Saturday morning. You adjust your heavy winter coat to block the crisp morning chill. Taking a deep breath, you look down the bustling block. This is 1956. Going downtown is not just an errand, but a genuine event. Women in tailored day dresses and sensible heels walk the sidewalks with an elegant, unhurried purpose that you rarely see anymore. Gentlemen politely tip their felt fedoras as they pass you by. You hear the sharp clack of leather soles hitting the concrete. It is a comforting sound. The friendly chatter of neighbors fills the crisp morning air. Wide, striped canvas awnings stretch far over the classic brick storefronts, casting long, cool shadows to perfectly block the bright midday glare. You catch your own reflection in a completely spotless glass shop window. Everything feels remarkably pristine. You push open the heavy brass doors of the local department store. A sudden, welcoming rush of deeply chilled air greets you immediately upon entering. The rich, intoxicating scent of expensive French perfume mixes gently with fresh floor wax to create an atmosphere that quietly demands your utmost respect. It feels entirely grand. Soft orchestral music plays quietly from hidden speakers above your head. You walk slowly past the elegant, warmly lit glass counters displaying fine leather gloves. Salesgirls in crisp, perfectly tailored uniforms stand patiently behind the shiny registers, entirely ready to assist anyone who happens to catch their eye. They never rush you, but they are always watching attentively from a polite distance. "May I assist you?" an older woman asks with a warm, entirely genuine smile. You reach out and run your fingers gently over the delicate edge of a beautifully and smoothly folded silk scarf resting on the counter. It is beautifully crafted. You decide to buy it. Just a small treat for the weekend. There are no self-checkout lanes here. Every single purchase you make here becomes a very pleasant, quiet conversation. It is a small, deeply meaningful exchange of human warmth and patience that makes you feel truly valued as a person. You hand over a crisp paper bill to the cheerful clerk. She presses the heavy mechanical keys of a massive silver cash register. The brass bell chimes brightly, a sharp, wonderfully cheerful sound ringing out across the otherwise quiet, perfectly carpeted floor. It is music to your ears. You take the escalator up to the expansive home goods floor. Under your shoes, the mechanical hum of the moving stairs is steady and deeply rhythmic. Endless rows of sparkling new chrome toasters and heavy glass percolators perfectly line the polished wooden shelves of the department store. You are standing in the middle of a time of immense, sweeping national optimism. The post-war economic boom has completely filled these massive store windows with dazzling, brightly colored modern conveniences designed for a new era. Families finally have disposable income. The difficult years of strict wartime rationing are finally over. Everywhere you look, young couples are eagerly buying shiny televisions and colorful kitchen appliances to build their absolutely perfect suburban homes. But despite all this shiny newness, life still remains deeply grounded. Shopping today is not about rushing to check off a frantic list. It is a vital social ritual. You finally step back out into the bustling, beautifully sunlit street. A sudden, refreshing cool breeze catches the edges of the canvas awnings hanging right above you. You casually bump into a few close family friends standing right outside the entrance of the local five and dime store. There is absolutely no rush today, so you pause for several minutes just to catch up on all the latest neighborhood gossip. The teenager sweeping the concrete sidewalk actually knows your first name. This street is the beating heart of the entire town. Everyone belongs to this shared rhythm. No one is invisible here. You walk toward the corner drugstore for a midday break. A glowing neon sign hangs proudly above the heavy glass door. It promises a cold fountain soda. You push the door open. You take a seat at the beautifully polished red laminate counter. A young man wearing a crisp white apron smiles politely and hands you a slightly worn paper menu. The large, magnificent jukebox sitting in the far corner of the room glows brightly with stunning, vibrant neon colors. It is currently playing a brand new rock and roll record that the teenagers absolutely love. The heavy bass thumps lightly against the base of your spinning vinyl stool. You order a cherry cola. The tall glass is cold and heavy in your resting hand. As you sip your drink, you quietly watch the well-dressed people passing by the large glass front window. There is a deep, profound sense of comfort hidden inside this perfectly predictable and beautifully structured daily routine. In this era, no one is walking around staring down at a glowing, distracting screen in their hands. People are looking at each other. Really looking at each other. Sitting quietly here at the diner counter, you feel completely and entirely anchored to the present, beautiful, fleeting moment. The world outside this small town might be changing rapidly. But right now, everything makes sense. You feel known. You feel safe. It is just you, a cold drink, and the familiar hum of your community. Looking around the diner, you realize this is a very simple, irreplaceable kind of quiet happiness. You take a long sip. The square ice cubes clink softly against the thick glass rim. That delicate, refreshing metallic sound is the absolute perfect soundtrack to a gloriously slow and peaceful afternoon spent on Main Street. The afternoon sun begins to dip lower in the blue sky. Long, dramatic shadows begin to stretch far across the classic red brick storefronts. You gather your bags. Your leisurely walk back home is incredibly quiet and wonderfully slow. As you stroll, you listen closely to the low, distant hum of heavy American cars passing by. The tall streetlights begin to flicker on, glowing brightly one by one along the darkening avenue as the sun sets. Above the storefronts, the colorful neon signs finally come alive against the deep purple twilight of the evening. The day is winding down. It was a remarkably good day. You feel a deep sense of peace settling over your shoulders. The autumn air grows noticeably cooler as the quiet evening slowly approaches the sleepy town. You pause for a long, quiet moment to take one last lingering look down the beautifully glowing, nearly empty street. It is a picture-perfect, beautiful memory, completely frozen in time. That was enough. Do you honestly think afternoons like this felt richer because life moved slower, or simply because people had learned to notice more? Would you gladly trade today's endless modern convenience for just one single afternoon walking down this street? Was the true charm of places exactly like this found in the era itself, or simply in the beautiful way people once knew how to inhabit a moment? The past may be gone, but the feeling of it never entirely leaves us. If this quiet, peaceful corner of history still feels alive to you, there is always another wonderful doorway just waiting to be opened. Some histories are strictly written in grand, sweeping international headlines. Others survive strictly in the small, quiet rituals that everyday people carried through perfectly ordinary afternoons. There are far more of those beautiful, deeply human, and incredibly touching stories waiting for us just ahead on this journey. Stay a little longer with us, and we will just keep opening these beautiful doors into the past together.